Hello, second grade Smarties, and welcome to video 2 of iReady Math Lesson 8. So yesterday we introduced subtracting two-digit numbers. And yesterday we talked about using our 10 rods and our ones cubes as well as open number lines to help us subtract by counting on or borrowing from our tens place when we don't have enough ones in the ones place to subtract. So we're going to go ahead and get started by reading our first word problem on page 72 in our instruction page. So make sure you are open to this instruction page with me so we can work together. All right, let's get started. It says, there are 54 children at camp. Of these 54 children, 27 are girls. How many boys are at camp? Now, what do? Every time we have a word problem, what do? We read it again so we know exactly what it is asking us to do. So I'm going to circle our numbers this time and underline important words that tells us if we are adding, subtracting, comparing, or finding a missing part. Here we go. There are 54 children at camp. Ooh, that's a big number. I wonder if that's my whole. Of these, so it's talking about the 54, of these, 27 are girls. How many boys are at camp? All right, so let's think about what it's asking us to do. It says we have 54 children at camp. 54 children. So I'm going to write 54 right here, and then we're going to decide if it's a whole or a part. Of these 54 children, so if it's talking about 54 of the 54, does that mean 54 is my whole or is it a part? It's my whole. So I have 54 kids at camp. 27 of them are girls. How many are boys? So kids aren't disappearing, kids aren't swimming away, kids aren't going home. We are comparing. We're comparing how many boys and how many girls are at camp. So we have 54 kids all together. 27 of them are girls. So we can take away the part that we know from 54 to find how many boys we have. So the first thing that we can do is we can add our tens. So remember, we talked about yesterday that when we have a subtraction problem, I can't pound and count. I cannot add on. So what I can do is I can do an addition problem. That's right. We can add when solving a subtraction problem. So think of those fact families. We know 54 is our whole. And we know 27 is the part that we know. We can start with 27 and count on until we get to 54. When we count on, we find that missing part. So when we find this missing part in our addition sentence, it is also going to be the part that is left in our subtraction problem. So let's look at what it did with our open number line. So we started at 27 because 27 is the part that we know, and we know that our whole is going to be 54. So the first thing that they did is they did what? They added how many? They added 20. So they added the tens first. So they added 27 plus 20 and got to 47. The next thing that they did is they added how many more? They added 3 more to make 50. So they added to another group of 10. So first they added 20 plus 3 more equaled 50, but they weren't done because they had to get to 54. So 50 plus how many more? Plus 4 more equals 54. So our missing part would be 20 plus 3 plus 4. What is 20 plus 3? Well, we can count on that. 20, 21, 22, 23. Can't forget 4. So 4 more would be 24, 25, 26, 27. So 27 is our missing part. Ooh, what kind of fact is this? 27 plus 27 is a doubles fact. That's when my two parts are the same number. All right, it says you can add up to the next 10 again. So here is what so we are adding up to the next 10. And this one, we added 2 10s to get to 47. So this time what they're doing, they're starting at the part that we know, which is 27, and they counted up to the next 10. So the next 10 after 20 would be 30. So they did 27 plus 3 equals 30. Then it says you can count up by tens to add 20. So they started at 30, then they went 40, 50. So they added 2 10s, which is the same as what number, friends? 20. So they added 3 first to get to 30, then added 2 10s to get to 50, plus 4 more, because after they got to 50, they had to count on to their whole. So again, 3 plus 20 plus 4. It was the same thing as up here. What was our missing part? It was 27. All right, it says, look at the first model it. What number do you start with? What number did we start with in our first model it? We started with 27. And what number did we stop at? What was the last number we stopped at? 54. So when we added, why did we start at 27? Because it was what? It was the part that we knew. And why did we stop at 54? Because it was our whole. All right, let's look at number 3. It says, why do you add 3 first to the second modelet? Why did we add 3? What did it tell us that we could do? We could add up to the next 10. So why do you add 3 first? To add up to the next 10. And friends, I use the words from the workbook to help me. Friends, I put the next. Friends, always use the text that you have to help you solve your problems, to help you find answers to questions. It says, what is 54 minus 27? How did you get your answer? So looking over here, we have 54 minus 27. Now, when we use the open number lines, we solve those subtraction problems by making addition problems. But remember, friends, anytime that we know an addition problem, I can easily turn that into a fact family, which is 2 addition problems using the same parts and whole, and 2 subtraction problems using the same parts as whole. When I add, I have 2 parts that make a whole, and when I subtract, I start with my whole and take away the parts that I had in my addition sentence. So what is 54 minus 27? 27. I got my answer. What did we use to find the answer? I got my answer using an open number line. So we can use an open number line to add to find our missing part, or we can go back to. So I like to show you guys what this looks like as an equation. So we had 54, and we knew that 54 was our whole. 27 was a part that we knew, and we had 27 girls. We had to find out how many were boys, so we are comparing. So what do I always start with when I subtract? We always start in our ones place. Now, can I do 4 minus 7? I cannot. So what did we talk about yesterday when I don't have enough ones to take away? Who can I go and visit? I can go and visit the tens place. So my ones over here, my ones in 54, they're in a pickle. They go over to the 5 tens and they say, oh no, 5 tens, I don't have enough ones to take away 7. They're really bugging me to be taken away. to take some of me away. So, can I borrow a 10? And the 510 says, of course you can take a 10. Let me just give you 110, and I'll just go down to 4 10s. So now our ones place has 110 plus 4 1s. What number is 110 and 4 1s? 14. So our tens place was so kind to let the ones place borrow a 10. Now 7 can be taken away from 14. So 14 minus 7, ooh, that's part of a doubles fact. 14 minus 7, how many would be left? I would have 7 left. And now I can go over to my tens place, and I can take 2 away from 4. 4 minus 2 is how many? It is 2 10s. So friends, when we are subtracting and we do not have enough in the ones place with our whole, we have to borrow from the tens place. So that is what this looks like on an equation. Now we use an open number line to add to find that part that is left, but we can also use different strategies. All right, over here it says, how are the two models on the previous page alike? How are they different? So what did both of these number lines do? They added to find what? The missing part. They added to find how many boys were at camp. So they both had the same thing in common, how they were adding to find how many boys were at camp. But how are they different? Sorry, friends, multitasking. How are they different? What did the first one do that the second one didn't do? The first one started with adding the tens, and the second model started by adding to the next 10. So for the first one, they started with 27. They added 2 10s and then counted on the ones that were left. With the second one, they started by adding to, what number did they add to? They added to 30 and then added the tens and the ones that were still left to add. All right, let's look at our last one. It says, try another problem. It says, subtract 16 from 30 by adding up. So that means we are going to use an open number line because it's telling us exactly what to do. So it says, subtract 16 from 30. So that means that I am taking 16 away from 30. So what is going to be the part that I know? 16 is my part. So on my open number line, I know I'm going to start at 16. And what is my whole? We know that 16 is our part. What is going to be our whole? 30, right? Because we're taking 16 away from 30. So 30 is going to be my whole. So I'm going to write this over here too because we will solve this after we add up. All right, so we are going to go up. We are going to add up. We're not taking away this time. So 16, I'm trying to think. Do I want to add a 10 or do I want to add to the next 10? I'm going to do both. Ooh, if you want to do both, take that challenge. So for the first one, I'm going to add 10. So 16 plus 10. And that would actually be a little bit more than this. So I'm going to add 10. So 16 plus 10 equals 26. Great job. Now I am adding to 30, and I can count on from 26 to 30. So 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. How many more would I need to get to 30? 4 more. So I had 10 plus 4. Now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add to the next 10 and then add on my 10s. So 16, my next group of 10s is going to be 20. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 4 more will get me to 20. So 4. And now, how many 10s do I need to get to 30? 23. 30. I need 110. So 20 plus 10 equals 30. What was my missing part in both of these? 10 plus 4, 10 plus 4, 14. So I added up to find my missing part. Now, I told you that we were going to solve it like this as well. So let's start in our ones place. I see a big uh-oh. I know that when I subtract, I start with my whole. So 30 is my whole, and I'm taking 16 away. I cannot take 6 away from 0. So I'm going to go over to my tens place and I'm going to ask them super nicely to let me borrow a 10. So they are going to give me a 10, which means that they took away from the tens place. They took 1 10 away. So I have 2 tens left instead of 3. Now I have 10 minus 6 ones. What is 10 minus 6? I have 4 ones left. Now I can hop on over to my tens place and I have 2 tens minus 1 10. How many tens would be left? I would have 1 10 left. So 30 minus 16 equals 14. We solved it first by adding on. We started at 16 and counted to our whole. With this equation, we started with our whole and we took away the part that we knew to find the part that was left. All right, Smarties, as always, keep that growth mindset. Good learners do hard things. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow with another video with subtracting with 2-digit numbers. Happy learning, and I will see you tomorrow.